Hello, everyone. We're recording from the crib in Miami Beach, Florida. Got Cooper Rosario, Josh Pardue here, our man Cody at the Nines. We've had a terrific day running by the Miami Coconut Grove Hospital project, checking that out. Then, because it was Basel, we just started rolling around, jumping in a few different spots. Yeah. Next thing you know, we're in Wynwood, catching the guys going up and down the buildings, doing the paint, the spray paint, that, parties, whatnot. Run back here to the crib. We're gonna have a little discussion today, Cooper. What are some of the things that you think are important to talk about for the next 20, 30 minutes?
Generally speaking, let's go over real estate development. We'll probably talk about the cap stack and financing.
Yep.
And I have some personal questions towards the end. So
cool. Let's jump in. First off, are you excited about Basel or what?
Absolutely.
What are you thinking for tonight?
Look, I'm very open-minded. So let's see where it goes, but I love Miami. I'm a Florida boy, so it's always a good time.
That's code for my colleague came to tear it up. we were driving by Club Space, not in a work environment. I just asked, hypothetically, have you ever been in there?
Hypothetically, I have.
Hypothetically, did the sun come up when you left?
I wish I could remember, right?
All right, let's get down to real estate.
Let's roll.
Faces, every different nation, Spanish, Asian, Indian.
No, I agree. When you think about GMP, right, and what we do throughout the state, let alone the country, how does Miami play a role in our strategy, kind of generally speaking?
Miami's a tricky market because it's feast or famine and it's so competitive. In some regards, you should almost be completely focused on this because when you think about density and cost, once costs get this high and there's this many intelligent people from all over the country and all the world, I should say, living here and buying property here, it makes it a lot harder to kind of jump around and just see good ideas and execute on them. So with that said, Miami's not a market that you're randomly just going to speculate on something. Like it was intentional. What we did in Fort Lauderdale, buying a building from the bank and then knowing that we had a user. We bought it right and had the user. So we're going into Fort Lauderdale, which is a competitive, expensive market.
Sure.
Granted, this is maybe 10 years ago now, but it was still competitive then. But going from that to now, the competition's up, but you got to have a unique angle. You don't just want to go in testing out buying,
Sure.
buying something to buy something.
Sure, I agree. It's funny because I look at the other markets that we play in where we could afford to do that. We can be more speculative in a North Florida, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to cost, and we have a better foothold on kind of that local market, given we have projects there now.
It's more putting money into a market, and then there's knowing what your strategy is to create value. Those are two separate things. They're both okay at the end of the day, place capital in smart markets. But if you're placing capital in a smart market and you know your strategy, you're taking it to the next level.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's talk Art Basel really quick, right?
Yep.
We're down in Miami. We're checking our projects down here. And it helps that, right, we have one of the largest entertainment events of the year, maybe in the country, right? Maybe in the world, give or take, in our backyard. So
that's by design, though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You want to do business and spend your time in a growth market if that's your perspective. If you want to be around people that are growing and pushing themselves, there's very few markets, in the world, as you said, that are going to have that level of culture and push of Miami. And so in an ideal scenario, and look, everyone wants their own life and their own strategy, but an ideal scenario, if that's what you want, it's exciting to have a project in Miami, a place in Miami, and to be able to tie it into where we can enjoy the unique culture of Basel. And what, like in the last 10 years, just how much Miami's changed, and then, how much this event has even changed.
No doubt.
You called it out earlier. It used to just be in one area. Now the whole city is
right.
Basel and it's not, it used to just be a weekend, and now it's
the whole week.
The whole week,
right?
There's events, and people are going. People are going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This whole past week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all the way through. I think Monday is probably the last day.
Yeah, it's more of a local holiday now, right? It's no longer a weekend party. It's a local holiday, right? You see some businesses either close or they're ramping up, depending on their nature.
And that's what makes Miami a unique market too. The people that are here make a selection to be here based on culture, art, music, beach, scene, people, the see or be seen crowd, but it's just even a totally different level. It's like humans perceive their art, and some of it's ridiculous. It absolutely is ridiculous, but it's also quite an impressive, impressive cultural phenomena.
No doubt. I noticed it walking out of the condo here, right? I mean, you take any turn left, turn right, there's a vibe, right? There's
Yeah.
whether it's a restaurant or a corner cafe. I mean, there's people walking around, there's people running. I mean, it's Miami Beach, right? It's super
Yeah.
active.
Super active. All the people are really unique. Everyone's got their own story, and not everyone is by any means like it has become a global wealth success development, Bitcoin, crypto, property, whatever you name
Sure.
it. It's got that hustle. But what's neat is the regular people that are still mixed in and call this home, whether it's the Latin population or whether it's the skateboarders or whether it's just the oddball ends. They all got their own story and their character and their design and style. They're here for a reason. They want
doubt.
something a little eclectic.
No doubt. I agree. I think, Tampa has a bit of that. And you could see that it's starting, right? When I look at Florida as a whole, in the markets we play in, the properties we own, my take is that Tampa is maybe a decade behind Miami, plus or minus, right? By no means will it be the next Miami, right? But it's a little brother, it's a little sister. When you look at the neighborhoods we have down there.
Yeah.
So it's cool to make investments and work with you and the team with that mindset. Because I come down here, I see what I see, and I know we can translate it back home and do what we need to do.
That's right. And that's part of seeing, okay, we drove around Wynwood for 3 hours today. Wow, Ybor's kind of cool, okay? But Ybor could be in this direction, whether it's 10 or 20 years. And it's not like it's following it. It's just the point is that there's an opportunity for progress. And with progress comes opportunity.
Sure. Absolutely. Why do we choose to develop in a market like Miami?
Migration, density, and demand. If you think about real estate, it's all about supply and demand at the end of the day. You have two kind of markets. You have vacant property markets or user markets where you have a vacant building and a tenant and they need to be paired together. In that market, based on how much space and how many tenants, supply and demands and rate goes up or down based on that. On the flip side, you have the capital markets of the real estate and commercial real estate industry, which is the flow of money amongst land, buildings, and all type of project ideas, circular, moving all around. And then within that, on all the world or all of America's real estate, it's all financed on a balance sheet or a cap table, if you want to think about it. So we could literally quantify the value of all US real estate. And within that market, there's a debt plus equity equals the asset. So when you think about that and you look at a property or you look at a project, you look at an idea going forward, I want you to think about it as a capitalization stack. And based on that, people have to spend all day moving money around those markets. So bring that to Miami, okay? A lot of users want buildings, therefore the buildings fill up. Therefore land needs to be developed. Therefore there's opportunity to create value. Therefore the money follows that.
Sure.
And then think about the synergy, how it plays off. So the market gets bigger, there's more users, and there's more money to it. And that's how you become a strong market. So that makes property very expensive, which is risky, but it also means there's high demand, which in some ways insulates risk.
Sure.
Would you rather own a vacant 20,000 square foot building in downtown Tampa or downtown Miami?
Miami.
Why?
Better likelihood of leasing it up.
Right. Larger local GDP.
Okay. Sure.
But same reason that you'd rather be in Tampa than you'd rather be in a tertiary market in Florida. Or same reason you'd rather be in a tertiary market in Florida than theoretically a tertiary market in Minnesota,
Right.
for example.
Sure. That makes sense. So you mentioned debt and equity in the cap stack when
Yep.
it comes to a project. How do you plan for that? Are you looking at banks? Are you looking at CMBS debt,
Yeah.
private investors, REITs? How do you manage?
It's a really good question. And there's a lot of different ways to capitalize projects. And there's not necessarily a right or a wrong way. There's a theoretical optimal best and there's a theoretical less, but not really. The reason that people use cap rates and they remove debt when they value properties is because the market assumes that Cody can get different debt than you can get or that I can get. So when the property sells, it shouldn't matter about what kind of debt necessarily we can get. So they focus on the cap rate, which is the NOI relative to the purchase price. That way, if you're looking at existing property or a land, you can come in and say, I'm low risk, so I want to get 50% leverage, CMBS financing with no recourse. Or on the flip side, you could be like, I'm earlier in my career, I need to get all the leverage I can. I'll take 75% recourse just because I want to get the deal done.
Happily.
Just to get a deal done, right? And there's no right or wrong. As you get later in the game, you're supposed to move your portfolio to more non-recourse. Just like your stockbroker, like when you're looking at Finance 101, as you get older, you go from riskier stock portfolio when you're younger
Into the bonds.
right into bonds as you get older because you can't lose it all. Well, same difference when you're curating your real estate portfolio. As you get older, you don't need to have a bunch of leverage and recourse. You need to start to deleverage it because you'd rather run out of money. It's better to run money at 40 or 50 or 60 than it is at 70 or 80, right?
No doubt. Sure.
So each project can be capitalized in its own way. For me personally, it depends. Like if I have a tenant and a user, I'm going to think about it one way. If it's a totally speculative land play, I'm going to think about it another way. And everything's in between. You have to design your sources of money. You have to align your lender and your equity with the project type.
Sure.
Super important component. They have to match up.
That makes sense.
Right? If you got someone that wants to get their money out in a couple of years and you bring them to a 10-year project, you're destined to, have a rough ride with that partnership.
If you were starting over or beginning in your career and you're looking for education or a mentor or just reps, is there one of those three that may be the most important? If so, why?
Education, reps, and what was the third one that we were thinking
Mentor.
about?
Mentorship.
Mentor.
Yeah.
I think the right answer is to do all the above and to do all to the best of your ability by blending that. What does that mean? On the nights and weekends, if you're starting out, you should definitely take the time to apply yourself and figure out how to self-teach. You need consistent mentorship. You need some structured education. But the best way to learn anything in life unequivocally is to do it. That's the hard part. I've never done this before.
Right.
Self-doubt, limiting beliefs is one of the best comments. Every project that I've done was the first time that I did that project. And you say to yourself, I made that mistake, I won't make it again. But as long as you know you're going to continue to push forward and continue to seek answers and seek a solution, you're going to be fine. Where stress comes in is when something's wrong and you don't take action. If I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning and my mind is running through negative thoughts, I'll say, nope, the world's good, I'm happy, I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm in America. I'm not going to focus on those couple of negative things, but we're human natures. We think we're in a cave with a big stick next to us. We're cave people, and a lion came in at 4 in the morning, and you're flipping out. Well, that's what your brain's doing from a survival second. Something's wrong, I need to fix it. So when I stay in bed for an hour or two more, my mind will sometimes stay there, even though I'm trying to think positive thoughts. But the second I get up at 6 a.m., I go put on my stuff, I go run outside and sweat as much as I can, and I start thinking, I listen to music, I see the sunrise. By the time that I'm in the office making my to-do list and organizing my day, stress is not existent. Stress is from not taking action to fix problems.
Not taking action to fix problems, okay? I'm excited to roll out the next phase of equity education and the university aspect,
Yep.
right? I'm excited to help individuals in the real estate space, development, commercial, residential, learn more, because I benefited when I had the chance to purchase a course, learn from there, but also apply it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, and I know that's,
I love hearing that you did that before I even met you, right? There's so many ways to improve yourself that it's almost overwhelming. But instead of thinking about it like that, just think about like, I got to get started and do it. If you can be intentional and realize a third mentorship, a third education, a third doing, great. But the act is just taking action, knowing that every day you're going to take action, keep going down that direction. I think with education equities, it's really a lot of fun. You know, as you can probably tell in the office or in this conversation, I enjoy stopping and explaining the why.
sure.
Right? Everyone talks about the how, but you got to talk about the why. You got to answer all the questions to really figure out what's going on. And being able to take it from one-on-one human interaction to, okay, we threw these videos on the internet trying to teach young men and women how to maybe have a better positive figure, whether it's business or mindset or life. But education equities is the next iteration where people really want to drill down and learn the mindset, finance, and how to execute and create value. That's the point of the course. What are some of the chapters and stuff that you're excited about?
So the course is geared towards individuals who may have a bit of a base knowledge, understanding of real estate. So we briefly touch on residential real estate, right? And what that means. And then we share strategies on how one may be able to refinance or raise capital for their first commercial deal, right? So we'll go in and explain asset classes,
Yep.
but most importantly, we explain how to hire a team or to work with a team in general, right? As an investor, you work with many consultants, and the courses I've seen, the education I've seen, nobody talks about how do you approach a lender? How do you hire an architect? How do you talk with a GC, right?
Yep.
How do you vet them? So these are some of the topics that we'll share. And it's real life stuff. It's stuff that I've experienced and I've gone to you with questions. So
Yep.
that's what we put in there. I think it'll be helpful.
That's really been the focus is, okay, there's a lot of different real estate curriculums, but what do the curriculums not teach you? We're having the discussion about how do you hire an architect. Oh, okay. Well, these are the things you start with. Here's what they're going to try to do. Here's what you're going to try to do. Here's how you kind of bring it together in a productive manner to where you're focusing on partnership. You did a good job with a group out of Tampa on the multifamily. It takes some time and comfort, but you know it's kind of like the duality. As you were working with them for a while, they were gracious enough to make the plan for the building.
That's right.
You know, to show, okay, we want the relationship. And I saw that 11 o'clock at night. Kelly's working on the holiday party list. Let's show this guy some love. All of a sudden, that little investment he made in us paid off for him, and we're excited to have that relationship. But those are the things that you can kind of only learn by doing, but that we're going to try to convey in the program.
100%. Let's touch real quick on work. I don't like this phrase, but I'll say it. Work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
We're here in Miami. We went and checked out one of our projects today. It's also a very exciting weekend, Art Basel.
Yeah.
I'm excited for when the camera's off, going out, enjoying the scene, enjoying the neighborhood. How do
We're going to have the camera on you while you're running around Basel. You're just not going to know until Cody and I have the video.
Yeah. How do you manage? How do you manage, right? Going out, seeing friends, family, loved ones, but keeping it professional and high level.
Yeah, it's tricky. There's a lot of different ways to take that topic. I mean, obviously, there's only 24 hours in the day. Like, you got to start with that framework, and then you got to move over to your principles. What's important to you? There's no right or wrong. The definition of success is about as ridiculous as the concept that the definition of IQ for most of the 1900s was what they thought made people successful, but really it's EQ and cultural intelligence and all these other things that aren't IQ. Well, like the definition of success for, unfortunately, I don't know, post-World War, Coca-Cola, marketing, all these big things, World War II, all these things happened, and the idea of success and the family and this modern all changed. Now, the image of success is a guy in a yellow supercar, flexing his arm out the window, riding around, acting like women are an object and this and that. And that's unfortunately where the country has gone in a chapter. But I still think that the vast majority of people at the end of the day are good people and realize what that is. And really the definition of success is more being free and being happy at whatever you do, and finding the balance between personal, professional, and how to tie that together. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, I would submit that professional was here, personal was here. There's a little bit of overlap, like the holiday party and my wife, the Don Draper suit era.
Right.
I'm going to submit now that we're getting a lot more different with how we think about things. And this is case in point, example of how we're mixing going by the project with doing some recording, with going out tonight. I think you heard tomorrow, I got my boys at the Miami Dolphins game, childhood friends. They drive me completely nuts. They're the rowdiest football playing surfers ever. They will tackle me, they'll spill my beer, they'll mess up my phone, they'll this, that, but I don't forget where I'm from. And I'll make a priority to do that, even though last night I'm upstairs on spreadsheets till midnight, because there's a few important things going that I had to focus on. And so I forewent Basel, last night, the night before, today, to make it a priority. But it has to all tie into your principles, your core values, and what makes you happy.
Makes total sense. It's helpful for me to work with you and to work with other people of our team, Kelly, Chris, and see how everybody manages it.
Yeah.
Right? Selfishly, personally, for my growth, it's helpful to see like top class individuals and how they manage. So it's pretty.
And everybody manages it different, and there's no right or wrong. As you know, with like Kelly, she very much loves to run fast and work extremely hard, but she likes to view it as a certain time block, in and out. She's helpful to be able all the time, but that's her boundary and that's where her energy is, and we love that. Chris, when we were discussing, he's late in his career, very successful. He needed more time with his kids. He wanted to be treated right by the team, the employment, like these different things. So you have to pay attention to what's important to everybody. With you, I can tell what you're doing. You want to take my job.
Absolutely.
And I love that, because that's what you should want to do. Yeah. And the only way that you can do it is to try to figure out how to program yourself to learn what you can learn from me and overlay that on yourself. Because you're just going to pick and choose things that you learn from me. A lot of things from me, some other things that you see in the market, and that's going to mold your vision of who you want to become and what your success is. But I struggle with it, but at the same time, I love what we do. And, the secret's out of the bag in the last few years. There's a lot of topic about it. People now are more cognizant of focusing. We were talking about Cody loving what he's doing, putting these productions together. If you love what you do, it's totally different.
100%.
The word work is a silly word to me.
I'd agree. I don't like the word busy, right?
I don't like the word busy.
For the same reasons.
Yeah, people, I'm so busy. You're so busy. Woo. People answer the call, you take the call. And I have very sophisticated, smart people that take the call and they're like, I'm very busy. And I'm like, I never start the call that way. I'm like, great, terrific. But there's something about society and the self-importance about being busy that's not right. Of course, the answer is to be productive. And if in 2 hours you can get done what the other person can get done in 10 hours, then your focus should be on return per hour, on output and return on that. But if you line up what you love with what you're good at, with your career, your occupation, your business, whatever chapter you're at, and you run those things really well, and you also bring in your personal and find that happy blend. We're going to have a fun time tonight in Basel. We'll probably run into a few people that we might be doing business with next year as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. The building downtown Tampa, those boys are going to be running around tonight too.
Of course.
Might see them out and show them Cooper can stay up a little late.
We got it. We'll handle it. We'll handle it.
Great discussion today. Cooper Rosario, Josh Pardio, man Cody recording. Much appreciation. Covered a lot of different topics today about life, about what's important, finance, business, capitalization, Miami, Basel. Going from here, we're going to run around a little bit, check out the town, see some of the art shows, meet some people, do a little bit of fun, a little bit of network, a little bit of team bonding. We'll catch you online next time. If you want to learn more about education equities or any of the stuff that we're doing, click here for other videos.